Hello, everyone. Welcome to Music Connects People. I'm your host, Thom Jennings, and we have a very special episode today. On this date, the date I'm recording this is July 18th, 2023. 7 years ago, my mother, Elizabeth Jennings, passed away, and that morning I had done a short interview with Brandy Clark. And because of the situation with my mom was in hospice, and I actually left the hospice house to do this interview and by phone in my backyard, and then went back to the hospice house, and Mom passed away. And this interview never really saw the light of day, and I haven't listened to it since I conducted it 12 years ago, so you and I will be listening to it together for the very first time. And I'm going to play it and maybe make some comments at the end of it as well. In case you're not familiar with Brandy Clark, just a wonderful, wonderful singer-songwriter. My wife, Tracy, and I saw her open for Jennifer Nettles on Jennifer Nettles' solo tour. Jennifer Nettles is from the band Sugarland. And wound up chatting with her at that show. Later, I interviewed her and another time, and then was able to interview her this second time that we'll be listening to today. And she's always been very nice to my wife and I, and she gave us personalized autograph photos and had us backstage at another Jennifer Nettles concert later on. And we've had a chance to see her a few times over the years, just like about 3 months ago on a solo acoustic tour in a little town called Homer, New York. Didn't get a chance to chat with her at that point. I don't know if she honestly remembers us anymore, but there was certainly a time that she did. Anyhow, for you Brandy Clark fans and for everyone else, and again, if you have not checked out her music, please do. It is worth it. I'll get this interview queued up. It's a short one. It's about 12 minutes long, and we will go from there. It should only take me a minute. Here we go. Brandy Clark, July 18th, 2016.
And hit my merge. I'm back. I appreciate it. Well, first and foremost, congratulations. I mean, Big Day in a Small Town is really come out of the box very strong. Incredible reviews. I was fortunate enough to have one of the first reviews out there, and everybody followed suit and agreed that this is a classic right out of the box.
Thank you. Thanks for that, actually.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I don't know if you remember me. I did a feature for you a couple of years ago, and we met over at out in Salamanca. My wife and I came backstage and spent some time with you.
I do remember that.
So I kind of wanted to start out with, obviously, I don't want to say your forte because you do everything very well, but I mean, the whole songwriting piece has really been the thing that's resonated with everybody. And in light of like all these crazy things that are going on nationally, here's your album. It's Big Day in a Small Town. Now, I take that as kind of some people could see that as a bit of a jab that things in small towns are small, but I look at it more of as kind of a loving look at the fact that life is a little bit simpler in a small town. Is that more what you were going for with that particular song and the album title?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's two-pronged. I think it's both things. I think it's, it doesn't take much for it to be a big day in a small town. Was originally, the idea came from a friend of mine moved back to her hometown in Oklahoma, and she had put a post on Facebook that said, I washed my hair and I went to town twice. That's what it said. And it said, now that's a big day in a small town. And I thought that was so funny because being from a small town, that really, really resonated with me. But the reason, for the record, really, and the reason I wanted to pay a little bit of homage to a small town is I'm from one. And when I sat down with Jay Joyce, who produced this record, and we started talking about it, and he loved the idea of Big Day in a Small Town, but he said, well, why do small towns mean so much to you? And I said, well, I love a small town. I'm from one, and I love that. What do you love about it? And I said, well, I love that, the town shuts down for the football game, and everybody knows everybody's business. And he said, well, why do you really love your small town? And I said, you know, when my dad died, I went home for his memorial service, and there were so many people there that it had to be held in a gym. And that wasn't the first funeral I attended in a gym, because people in small towns care about each other. And it's not that people in New York City don't care about each other. It's just I grew up in a town of 900, and when you're in a small area, I mean, I didn't know all 900 people, but you know a lot of people you wouldn't know if you lived in a city, And I said, who has that many people come to their memorial service? A celebrity or someone in a small town. And I really do think, you mentioned in the things that are happening in the world at large. I said this the other night at a show, and I mean it. Like, the whole world needs to act like a small town right now, really. Because, it's a little crazy, and it seems to get crazier every week. And I think we all need to care about each other a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's interesting. I live in a small town. It's super small. It's about 2,000 people, and my mom's actually in hospice right now. We've just had everybody and their mother coming out to see us, and it's so different. And like you said, I guess when we look at each other and we care for each other as individuals, it resonates a lot more than this whole big stuff on TV, which just seems to bring out the worst in people now. It's really kind of a dichotomy.
Sorry about your mom. That's tough.
Oh, yeah, thanks. It's been a tough road. It's gone pretty quick. But I mean, in all seriousness, music is the kind of thing that gets me through these things, and I'm sure you can relate to that as well.
Thank you.
I saw you mention too, daughter. You did an interview on that the other day, and I think the story behind that is really funny. How you heard a guy say something or treating somebody poorly in a bar, and that's how that song came out. I know you talked about it before, but I mean, anything else that was kind of missing from the narrative that was out there already?
Well, it's a guy that a lot of people would know because he's an artist. I won't say his name, but that's a little fun tidbit about it. He was making fun of some girls. I didn't see him. My co-writer Jessie Jo Dillon did, and she was real heated about it and talking about it, and saying, I hope this happens to him and I hope that happens to him. And I just said, I hope he has a daughter. That's where he'll get his karma back, And then we were off to the races writing that song.
Yeah, it's interesting you say it's an artist because, I mean, in some ways that's a little disappointing, but then again, there seems to be this weird theme in music about, that sort of trivial bro country, which people pick on rap stars for their portrayals of women, but in some ways, some of these country songs make women look like a bunch of lapdogs for their men who are sitting around drinking beer and driving around in pickup trucks,
A bunch of lapdogs. Oh, that's funny. Well, I guess there's something for everybody. That's what I always say is there's room for all of it. I mean, most of the girls I know aren't lapdogs. So.
Yeah, none of them that I know are. I mean, and I think it's funny that's maybe why daughter resonates probably with a lot of fathers, too, because it would horrify them if their daughters were the ones that were kind of degrading themselves in that way,
Well, yeah. That song, more than any song on this record, I feel really resonates with people. Some people don't even, the other night I played it and some girls came with me, they don't even call it daughter. They call it the karma song. Or the revenge song. Man, I love that revenge song. That's what they said.
Yeah, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want to do at least a question about Chris Stapleton before we go as well. But,
okay.
The one song on this record that I cannot help but just turn up to 50 on a scale of 1 to 10 is Love Can Go to Hell. And I remember the first time I heard it live, and then I heard the studio recording. And sometimes you hear a studio recording after you've heard a live song and you get disappointed, but man, this song it just knocks it out of the park for me.
I'm glad to hear that. Go ahead.
Do you think that's going to be a single? I mean, I really feel like it has its potential for some reason.
You know, it's funny. We're talking about second singles right now, and I got a single edit of it yesterday. Now, I got a single edit of 4 songs, so we'll see. But I mean, that has definitely always been in the conversation, and I think it will be. I don't know if it'll be the next single or the one after that, or hopefully the one after that one. But I think it will be a single. Yes, I know a lot of people want it to be.
Yeah, how the crowd reacted to that one, especially. I mean, actually, I'll frame this in more of a Chris Stapleton thing, because I think you've done a date or two with him, but you've played it with Jennifer Nettles. I assume you played it solo with a headlining show, and now you're out with Chris Stapleton. Have the reactions of the audiences been markedly different, or are you still seeing the same kind of reactions for each song?
Oh, I think the main difference between a headline show and like when I'm out with Jennifer or Chris is, that the people are there just to see me. So they react to every song like it's been a great big hit single because they know them all. Love Can Go to Hell, before the record even came out, people would clap when we would go into that, when the banjo would kick in. There's something about the energy of that song that people really respond to. But then now that the record's out, I get a lot of people telling me it's their favorite, and they definitely, go nuts when we start it.
And do you think that Since You've Gone to Heaven will be your version stay? I mean, you've seen Jennifer play that song each night, and it never gets old. I mean, I told people, I wrote a column once about songs that I'll never, ever get sick of. Like, as much as I'll get sick of seeing Freebird, which I'll see Skinner tomorrow night for the umpteenth time, I just never get sick of hearing Stay. I feel like Since You've Gone to Heaven has that kind of power. Even if you know the song, it just touches you on a real visceral level.
Wow. Well, I love that comparison. I hope so. It's not an easy one for me to do every night. It tugs at me, and it tugs at the guys that play it with me. So we don't do it every night, but when we do it, it definitely, it's an experience not only for the audience but for us.
And again, just to kind of wrap it all up, I mean, Chris Stapleton. It's funny. I don't know, as much as I think you and Jennifer are a great pair, I think you and Chris Stapleton are a great pair as well. When I saw the double bill, I was like, wow, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. When did you find out you were going out with Chris, and what was your reaction?
You know what? It was in April, and I got asked out when I was out at the ACMs, and the person who asked me was like a little bit trepidatious, like, hey, would you be interested in going out with Chris Stapleton? And I was like, yes. Why wouldn't I? I mean, I don't know why they thought I would be not, why I wouldn't be excited about that, but I think it's a great bill. And it's one, I think we're doing 6 shows, and I sure hope it turns into 60, because not only, I love Chris, and I love his wife, Morgan, and Chris and I used to be at the same publishing company, and so I've known them, I've never, it's not like I know them really, really well, but I've known them for years, and I'm such a fan of what both of them do. And not only that, but I love his crowd. I love his audience, and I think it's a good audience for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, definitely singer-songwriter, but not to the... it's weird. Like, I feel like sometimes if you're a really good songwriter, you lack in the musician piece. But both of you guys have really strong songs, and you're really good performers. So thank
you.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's actually Thursday. It's my 50th birthday, so that's how I chose to celebrate this year. See you and Chris, and when the date come up, I was very happy, because previously on my birthday I had to cover a Ted Nugent show, and that was not nearly as fun as Thursday would be.
Oh well, I hope it's worth it.
No, I'm sure it will be. Well, Brandy, thank you so much. I can't wait to continue to see your star rise. And my dream concert is you, headliner, full night, get to see some of the acoustic and some of the electric stuff, and I'm sure there's going to be a market for it before too long.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for you to see that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brandy. I'll see you Thursday.
Okay, see you Thursday.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you go. Man. was pretty cool. It really didn't. As I was sitting here listening to it, I kind of started to remember some of the conversation. But I looked at the time, and it was like 12 minutes long, and I felt like I got a lot in 12 minutes. But you heard the exchange about Mom and how she addressed it, and I didn't remember her saying is with as much conviction that she remembered me. But the concert that was taking place on the 21st, which was my 50th birthday, sadly I wasn't able to go because that was the week of my mom's funeral. But I did realize my dream of seeing Brandy as a headliner, and it appears like I'll be doing that again pretty soon. She's headlining a show here in Buffalo in October, as was brought to my attention by my friend Gabe today via text message. It's interesting. Throughout your life, you have people that kind of come and go, and Gabe's one of those people I wouldn't have necessarily looked for a text message from, but it really came at a very opportune time. And if you ever listen to this, Gabe, thank you. I appreciate that. It meant a lot to me, and hopefully we'll be able to go to the show. And I know that here it is 7 years later, Brandy has a very devout following, deservedly so. She's very, very, very good to her fans, and they are just. They understand her. They're very rabid. They're just great people. And when we were at this show in Homer, New York, this headlining show, her fans were just so cool. Just watching them, these people that travel around to different shows and scream stuff out. In fact, during the song "Big Day in a Small Town," and I'll close with this. We mentioned that song "Since You Gone to Heaven," and I can understand why it would be a very difficult song for her to sing on a nightly basis. I had mentioned to her during that solo show, I'd requested it, and she said, "No, I don't think I'm up for it tonight." So I guess still to this day, it's a song that's probably a song that she would have to be in the mood to play. And I feel very fortunate to have seen her perform it live, because man, it was one of those live music moments that you just don't forget. Anyhow. I appreciate you taking time to listen in. Short episode today, but a good one. And I'll dedicate this one, of course, to my mom, who has gone to heaven. And, until next time, this is Thom Jennings.